dawn of the 1970s, they were poised to be the next big thing.
Badfinger, yo.
Badfinger were handpicked for stardom by the Fab Four themselves.
A song called Baby Blue before. It's the oldie but goodie. You can tell. It's all a Pete Ham called Baby Blue.
We got Bob Evans, stage name Tony King, and we've got the beautiful Donna as well. And we're going to talk about the 2025 Breaking Badfinger World Tour. How are you guys today?
We're great.
Absolutely great, man. Peace.
Yep.
We're doing great. How's everything in Australia?
It's going great. Now, I want you to tell the whole world, right, about this forthcoming tour that's going to be massive. So just go for it.
Well, we're hitting in a lot of cities. As you know, I broke my leg during April, and so we had to cancel the entire spring, summer, and early fall tour.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to go back out. We got Kenny Hart, who put Badfinger back together in 1976 with Joey and Tommy, and Nicky Hopkins for the Airways record, who couldn't make it tonight due to technical difficulties. Sadly.
Sorry, Kenny.
Sorry, Kenny. Hello, Kenny. And then we've got John Evans, brother on guitar, and John, and then we got Steve and John. John's playing bass and doing vocals, incredible high tenor.
Yeah.
And then we got Steve and John on piano. Now, what's interesting about Steve and John, and my older brother is going way back to Badfinger history. When we were in the biggest band in Detroit called Straight Up, and Frank Barcelona was the most powerful agent in America and the world. He had Led Zeppelin, Humble Pie, The Who. I took Pink Floyd to him. He had U2 and Bruce Springsteen. So Frank, Frank had got me a solo deal when I was 16 with CBS. And for some reason, Joey Mullen was picked to produce the record. Joey flew into Bob Seger's keyboard player's house in Detroit. We did about 6 songs together. Me and Joe hit it off like that. So Joey suggested to management to take the entire band back out to LA to move into and get a house out there and record. And that's where I met our keyboard player who died last year, Gary Wright, Dreamweaver. Ooh, Dreamweaver, Miss Garrett. As you know, we just lost our other guitar player, Rick Derringer, and we lost Joey Mullen, who had just rejoined the band, who's coming out, looking forward to coming out with us. But in the meantime, it's been a rough year for us. But rough. Yeah. And then that accident, which almost killed me, I'm very lucky I didn't die, is now healed, and we're back in rehearsals, and we're going out. We're doing the record that we started. Actually, is a 3-part record. We started it as True Love, me and Joey Mullen, John Evans, Stephen John from Badfinger, Joey Mullen, and then Tom Evans and Mike Gibbons heard that record and immediately asked me to join the band. Frank Barcelona said no. He's got a solo record deal. They wanted me to front Badfinger. And Tommy kept calling me nonstop. And then he said he got Frank's number. He called Frank. Then Mike called Frank Barcelona. They kept asking, can we please get this young guy who sounds like Paul McCartney to front our band Badfinger, right? And finally, Frank said, under one condition, we're going to do it my way. We're going to do a new record. Bob's going to write songs with you and Tom Evans, who wrote Without You, and the second most recorded song of all time. Before I knew it, Tommy and Mike were living in my house that I just bought in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, as a young guy. And they moved in, and we started writing songs night and day, Daniel. The work that we got done in that 9-month period was amazing. So we wrote like about 50 songs for a record called Messenger. But actually, Messenger started with Joey Mullen, my brother, and Stephen John. We're all in Badfinger today with Kenny Hart, who was in the band from 76 to 78 during the Airways period. And so what's interesting about Messenger, the new Badfinger record comes out next year, is that we've been cutting tracks from some of the songs that me and Tommy and Mike and Joey have written with the new guys. Well, they're not really. It's my older brother and my best friend, Stephen John Evans, and then Kenny Hart, who's one of my best friends. I met Kenny many years ago when they were doing Airways in Los Angeles, right? So it's really like a family that comes together. And then I met my beautiful wife, Donna, who's also an incredible background singer. She plays keyboards in the band. And so I think she makes all of us old geezers look a little bit better. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
What we're doing on this tour is giving the fans something that they really want. Now, we all know about Breaking Bad being the #1 TV show of all time.
That was a cool show. That's my daughter's favorite show.
But what's really interesting about Breaking Bad is it gave Badfinger something that none of these other bands in the 70s have. It gave Badfinger a massive, massive following of 20 and 30-year-old kids. When I was in England, I've got a new book that David Gilmour's wife wrote from Pink Floyd called Bob Evans Becoming Tony King. Can you see that?
Yep.
By Ginger Gilmour.
Where can they buy the book?
At Amazon Kindle, Amazon, Thunderbird Galleries, and at bookstores all over the world. There's a picture of Ginger. There's all kinds of great stories in this book, starting with my father, Frank Sinatra, Madonna, the Beatles, how I met Pink Floyd, and I spent almost all of 2023 at Gingerland, Ginger Gilmour's country estate in England. So I did some shows in England when Ginger Gilmour was writing the book. David Gilmour's wife from Pink Floyd did shows, and everybody that came to the shows were 20 and 30-year-old kids, right? Which I thought was odd until after the shows, I was like, wow, I was expecting to see some older like McCartney Beatle fans, but they're all like Breaking Bad has taken on a life of its own. It's like Comic-Con, right? And they're all there. I mean, they had driven. I mean, at all the shows, they had driven from all over different parts of England to see Badfinger doing Breaking Bad or Breaking Bad Badfinger, right? And they would call me, "Hey, Breaking Bad," I mean, you know how they get front with their cell phones. It was amazing. I mean, the impact of that TV show, Breaking Bad,
It was a huge show.
That was the biggest TV show of all time, and they used Badfinger's Breaking Bad in the last episode. Ginger Gilmore was shocked. She was like, "Wow, everybody in here is 20 and 30 years old, And we were all shocked. But and then we find out that Breaking Baby Blue by Badfinger, after it went to #1 in every country in the world in 2014, gave Badfinger a whole new audience of 20 and 30-year-olds, right? See what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it kind of separates us from all the other bands that are 70, 80 years old from that era, Got to remember, I was very young when I was asked to join Badfinger. I was 16, 17 years old. You see what I'm saying?
I've just got to say now, with the new fans out there in 2025, people that actually haven't heard Badfinger or are not familiar with their songs, if they go on YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms and listen to the songs of Badfinger, they'll get their history. But now with, let's say, 2025, this is completely new. And I mean, once you're on the road,
it's all young kids.
That's right. Once
It's
you're
all
on the
20 and
road,
30-year-old
I reckon
kids.
you'll get not only the new fans and people that want to hear the music. That's what it's going to be all about for you guys. And I think it's going to be a very successful tour.
Here's another thing. I didn't know this. Badfinger we're in a film called The Holdovers in 2024, which won an Academy Award with No Matter What. For a song, No Matter What. No matter what you are. So Academy Award last year, Breaking Bad, nonstop. It's become like Comic-Con. And then on top of that, Day After Day was used in another huge Steven Spielberg film. And then Paul McCartney has just redone Come and Get It again with Johnny Depp, Alice Cooper, and Joe Perry from Aerosmith. He's doing it on his new live tour. So how cool is that? So McCartney's out doing Come and Get It. That's happening. Paul's out again at 83.
Yeah.
And so I know Paul. He said,
still like to listen to the old hits.
Yeah.
They love it.
But on this tour, because as you know, we're getting ready to start working on our new Eastsong Global Rock, our global music TV show, Eastsong Global Rock in Hilversum, Netherlands, which you'll be there on, by the way. Plastic EP Man is my favorite singer-songwriter from Australia, folks. If you have not heard his new record, get it. It's phenomenal.
He interviews legendary musicians, right? And the way he interacts with his fans and his clients is amazing.
It's amazing.
He is #1's top musical legendary musician in the world, interviewer. I love you, Daniel.
You've done 1,400 interviews. You only got us interviewed Michael Lindsay Hogg, who produced Let It Be.
Pulling out the bag. How do you do that, man?
That was an amazing interview. Michael Lindsay Hogg, the producer of the Beatles' Let It Be, and Rain, and all those paperback writer videos.
Somehow you have that natural.
I mean, why would he just do your show, not the Today Show or tonight's show? Answer: because you're #1.
Exactly.
Same thing with Glenn. You've had Glenn Johns on. You've had everything. But I'm going to give you some tour dates and a couple notes. I want to thank a few people. So we kicked this tour off at a place called Church Studios, which is owned by Leon Russell. They've turned it into a really cool place. We kicked the tour off there. It's called the Church Studios in Tulsa, where Leon Russell had built his studio and signed Jesse Barrett, of all people, who's open to show. You interviewed Jesse. You want to remind people what some of his hits were? Let's see, Count on Me for Starship.
That's a cool song. I love
Hearts for Marty Ball. But anyways, Jesse's open to show.
California Dreaming.
He was in John Phillips' Mamas and Papas. But anyways, we kicked things off on September 15th at Church Studios in Tulsa. And then on September 17th, we're at my friend Fred McNatt, one of the greatest promoters. Hi, Fred, in Southwest, at the Legends Outdoor Music Festival. We're expecting about 15,000 people there. And then on October 4th, we're at my friend Chuck's place, the Granada Theater in Hi, Chuck, in Dallas, Oregon. And then on the 5th, we're at my friend Steven's place in San Francisco. It's called Biscuits and Blues. A great place. Historic place is where Steve Miller hangs out, Santana hangs out. So we're playing there on the 5th. And then we're doing some AG Presents dates for my good friend Donna Augusta. Hi, Donna. We're doing the 2,000 seat Norva on the 15th. AG presents Badfinger Breaking Bad World Tour with Jesse Barish, October 16th. We're at the National, which it's 100 years old. That's an AG room that she books on the 16th, October 16th. And what are the dates? I'm missing a lot of dates. Oh, and then we do New York City. We're doing Cutting Room. We're doing Daryl's house. We're doing all these dates. They're just the phone's ringing crazy. Wow. And then on 25th, we're doing a cool place in Chicago. Same. It is called. I'm going from a list there. You have to forgive me. We have a lot of dates I'm going through. On the 25th, we do the Event Theater. That's also owned by the gentleman that owns the place that we're doing on the 4th. And then, so yeah, that's going to be way cool. So we got a lot of dates all over the place. It's called the Watsego Theater. We're doing October 25th. That's spelled Wattesk, Watsego Theater. And it's about 100 miles south of Chicago. And then we head into St. Louis, and we're doing some shows, and we're doing St. Louis show. But yeah, we're booked all through October and November. And then we head to Australia.
I can't wait for Australia.
And New Zealand. We come back. He's back. And so that's going to be way cool. So we come back there, and then we fly from New Zealand, where Donna and I have a house, Bay of Islands, maybe.
Yeah.
We fly there. We fly from New Zealand directly to Hilversum, where we're just buying a new house and start filming East Song Global Rock, featuring artists from 116 countries all over the world, with the biggest artists in the world writing and recording new songs. Just picture a big greenhouse, right, with 116 sound stages. My old manager, John DeMolo, does the voice, said you should do it here. That way, if we have a problem on soundstage C, Chile, China, or Colombia, we can send the best producers and songwriters to help the guys in, say, Colombia, right? Every country, we have the biggest artist as a host, and then they have the biggest artists on for 13 weeks. At the end of 13 weeks, on week 14, the viewers of the world pick their favorite song and artist. They advance to week 14. The top 30 vote getters, and then the top 10 vote getters advance to week 15th and ask them Greece, and they become East Song Global Rock Artist of the Year. It's a massive show. If 1 in 100 people watch the show, if 1 in 100 people, Paul McCartney told me, he said, Tony, this is a very adventurous idea. He said, I hope and pray it works. He said, if not, we will not have a music industry in the UK in 2027. He said, because streaming is killing England, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the West. But unknowns to most people, now you know I played China twice, Russia 7 times, India. I played all of Eastern Europe, all of Latin America. And I get cuts by artists that cut, thank you, artists who cut Tony King songs, like Clock Stop Ticking, what do we call it?
Clock that keeps giving.
Because it keeps getting cut over and over. But what's cool about this is that I think it's a testament to the fact that I've been there. They know me, you know what I'm saying?
Connections,
and because I was in China, right, I met people at CCTV in the Chinese government, Ministry of Culture. So they're going to run East Song Global Rock on CCTV in China. Same thing in Russia. The people run that into Eastern Europe, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Poland, Czech Republic, all those countries. And then India, Ravi Shankar's family has the biggest TV station there. And then Telemundo in Latin America. And then, in America and the West, where there really is no ad revenue, everything's streamed for free. I believe our friends at Sony, Michael Marshall. Hello, Michael Marshall. Hi, Michael. We'll do it here. So he's the president of Sony. Michael Marshall's been working on the show since 2007. He's been working on East Song Global Rock since 2017. You know it's a big show when the president of Sony, who does $5 billion Spider-Man films, is working on a TV show called East Song Global Rock. It's a big show. You get what I'm saying? He's a smart man, very smart. He talks quicker than me or you. But I mean,
I think the important thing here, honey, is we're reaching the global market.
On East Song
Global
Rock.
We're doing something that's never been done before.
We're writing and recording a new song each week in 116 countries. These are not amateur artists. These are the biggest artists in every country in the world. The biggest artists in Vietnam, the biggest artists in Thailand.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's desperately needed, right?
Desperately needed. We're creating
Rock and roll history, man.
Yeah, we're creating 1,200 new songs each 13-week season. It's going to save, as a lot of people are thinking, rock and roll.
Plan.
That's the plan. But back to the Badfinger tournament. Why I think it's going to be so successful is this is kind of like a fond farewell to Badfinger. It's my send off to my dead friends, Tom Evans, Mike Gibbons.
Exactly.
I met Peter Ham in '74, and also to Joey Mullen, who I missed dearly. I did 3 records with Joey. Joey was a good friend of mine. Yeah. So we lost 3 members of the band.
It's been a hard year.
It's been a hard year, and then I fell and almost killed myself.
Yeah.
But by the grace of God, I'm alive, you know.
Exactly.
So, and then I met Donna through a very famous songwriter in New Zealand, a friend of the guys in Crowded House. A friend of Neil Finn's introduced us. Got married, fell in love, and rock on lovers. I love you. But the tour is going to be interesting because I'm going to be doing a lot of songs that people want to hear, stuff like Perfection.
I love that song.
I'm going to do stuff like Carry On Till Tomorrow, that McCartney produced. Stuff like Beautiful and Blue, Crimson Ship off the Magic Cushion record. I'm going to be doing Maybe Tomorrow. That was on the first record called The Ivies before they became even Badfinger. The Beatles formed a record company in 1968 called Apple Records. Every band in the world wants to be on John, Paul, George, and Ringo's new record label, right? Including the Kinks, who they didn't sign. But David Bowie, I mean, would camp outside Apple, and they never signed him. They didn't see it, yet they signed Badfinger. Because they saw the genius of Tom Evans, who I miss daily. They saw the genius of Mike Gibbons and Peter Ham and Ron Griffiths, right? They saw those 4 guys, and they said, boom. Paul said, I love him, we'll sign him. George, John, and Ringo agreed. I mean, they went on to play on the Imagine album, Bangladesh with George Harrison. They're on It Don't Come Easy. They're doing all the high parts. They're on 2 Paul McCartney records. And they're also on every song on All Things Must Pass. Tommy used to say, he didn't call him Tommy when they were doing Imagine. Hello, Badfinger, how you doing? Let's do Jealous Guy. Hello, Badfinger. We're going to do Imagine now. Hello, Badfinger. You never called them by their names, right? John? Little known fact. So he used to always call him Badfinger. Hello, Badfinger. How you doing today? Even though he knew it was Tom Evans, right? I mean, I got these stories when the Beatles were doing the White Album, right? I mean, for some reason, Paul really liked Tommy like a little brother. He loved him, right? He'll tell you this story sometime. When he's on the show, we'll interview him about it. But he used to always invite Tom down at the Apple Studios when they're doing Let It Be, but when they were doing the White Album, they would get invited to the sessions, and Tommy was playing. I think he played on Sexy Sadie. He played on Dear Prudence, just acoustic guitars and strummed along with Eric Clapton like Eric played on, but they weren't credited. But they're all over the White Album because they were like the Beatles' pet bands. Like they, Tommy used to say they saw us like them, right, and vice versa. They were like a baby Beatles, if you like, and then suddenly one day they pop out with this magical record called No Matter What, after Paul had written and produced Come and Get It, which exploded all over the world and became a #1 hit in every country in the world. They then, on that record, Magic Cushion, which Paul produced, were doing 4 or 5 songs on the Badfinger Breaking Bad tour with Jesse Barish opening. They then exploded on their own with No Matter What. And I remember the great quote was George Harrison turned to Tom Evans and said, now, do you like this song? And Tommy says, why? He said, because you're going to have to play it for the rest of your life, man. It's like a major league hit in every country in the world. It's #1. And then, shortly after that, George says, do you mind if I play some guitar on your new record? It's called Straight Up. George walks in with his guitar asking Badfinger, oh, by the way, do you mind if I play slide guitar? I got my friend Leon Russell here. He wants to play piano, Eric Clapton. And the boys walk in and, they do Day After Day, right? And George is asking permission to play guitar on Day After Day. He says, my friend Leon's going to play piano. Leon Russell walks in and does who Jesse Barish's were, da-na-na-na-na. And so, I mean, they did that in one take, right? And then George would go on to do 6 more songs off that Straight Up record. And then he says, lads, how would you like to join me on my first charity concert as my backup band, Badfinger? So he took Badfinger, Bangladesh with Bob Dylan. I mean, everybody was there. Leon Russell was there, Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton. I remember Tommy telling me he sat there and watched Bob Dylan do an acid, right? He was terrified because that was his idol, right? And then Bob walked up to him and says, "By the way, mate," he said, "that song that you did on the Magic Fisherman record, Fisherman, is my favorite song." He goes, "It's my favorite song of all time. It's very deep. It's very." He said, "It's the kind of song I would, it's a song called Fisherman, which we're doing in the live show. Hey, hey, Fisherman." And then he said, he turned around to Peter Ham and he said, "By the way, that song they're knocking on our home is another one of my all-time favorite songs." He said, "Listen," he goes, "it's my all-time favorite record I've ever heard, non-Beatles." He said, "It's like a Beatle record." But he goes, "I guess it would be like a Beatle record since Paul McCartney and George Martin have produced most of the record." Tony Visconti, So we're doing songs off that record because they're like classic, timeless. I mean, Tom Evans basically and Pete Ham wrote every song on the record. You got to remember, Joey Mullen didn't join the band until after that record was done, right? He joined in 1970, quit in 74. So, but he's not on those first two records. Ron Griffith, hi Ron, is on those records. I always loved Ron Griffith. I thought, when he had to leave the band, I thought it was kind of tragic. And then they brought in Joey Mullen. And, Joey was, okay, and Joey would tell you this of his life. He was a great singer, but he was not Ron Griffith, Pete Ham, and Tommy Evans. Those guys were brilliant high tenors. And people often tell me I'm a brilliant high tenor. I say, well, maybe, I take it with a grain of salt. I remember when I got to deal with Air, George Martin and Peter Sullivan's company, Sir George Martin and Peter Sullivan did "Not Unusual to Be Loved by Anyone." So Peter and George formed Air in 1994, as you know, and they set up an American company, and they had Shania Twain, all these different artists. They dropped, but they kept me. They paid me a lot of money. Think about this. To write and record songs with the two guys that produced the Beatles, Tom Jones and Lulu Engelbert, Peter and Gordon. And so that was an amazing time from 94 to 99 to be produced and signed to an A&R deal, publishing deal, and management deal by Peter Sullivan and George Martin. I mean, people used to show up outside our studio just to get in to meet the Beatles producer and Peter Sullivan and Tom Jones is just as big almost, And so Dave Marsh from Rolling Stone said to me, he said, "Bob, Tony, you've got to be incredibly lucky to be signed by the two greatest producers of all time who sold 1 billion records with Air, because don't forget, they had every great engineer in the world: Roy Thomas Baker, Chris Thomas, who did NXS, Paul McCartney, Elton John, America, Little River Band. They did, 50 other huge artists." They said, to get paid to write songs for those guys and to make records for them, he said, and you got to remember, those guys charged $1 million a record. He said, but to get paid as a songwriter and as a recording artist under an artist development deal, you had to be very good. And he said to me, "Every time I hear the clock stop ticking," he said, "that's my favorite George Martin produced song." And that's a compliment. I think the songs and the fact that when that record came out in 99, well, actually 2000 on BMG Europe, we had 4 consecutive hit records in a row in every country in Europe. And the problem with that was BMG, we licensed it to BMG Europe, right? This record right here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's called The Clock Stopped Ticking. See it? BMG released this record into America without a contract. We were forced to sue them in federal court and every record store in America. In the meantime, I couldn't work in America and Europe. My manager sends me to China. I arrive in China and I meet the Minister of Culture, his best friend, who has a China record company, holds up a record, this same record, only says Tony King, The Clock Stopped Ticking. He says, "Yushi Yushan, welcome to China." Next thing I know, I'm on a tour of China, a month later, Russia, then Eastern Europe, and meeting all these amazing artists, So that's how we got Global Rock. And I went back to my house in Hilversum and told John DeMol, who did the voice, and he says, "We got to use all these great artists." And so there's so many great artists around the world. But back to Badfinger, Breaking Bad, Badfinger World Tour. I'm going to say this will be the last time I will ever be doing Badfinger again, because I'll be too busy doing Global Rock, for the rest of my life, and trying to save rock and roll from extinction.
Anyway, I just want to thank you all, both of you, and I just want to say all the best of luck now with the 2025 Breaking Bad Badfinger World Tour, and also
with special guests Jesse Barish from Jefferson Starship, Marty Bone, and John Phillips, Mamas and Papas.
clock stopped ticking and the cupboard's bare. There's no one there for her. She faced tomorrow filled with sorrow of a broken dream that's dead. Her heart is breaking, full of sadness, full of anger, full of dread. Come today, let Mother Mary shine a light on you, to see you through the morning light again. She's come to pray the Father might lay his hands on you, to give you hope, to show you there's a way. A way. She knows the way. She knows the day. She hopes, she prays. Come today, let Mother Mary shine a light on you, to see you through the morning light again. She's come to pray the Father might lay his hands on you, to give you hope, to show you there's a way. A way. The clock stopped ticking and the cupboard's bare. There's no one there for her. She'll face tomorrow in an empty room where children used to play. She knew the day he'd leave that way.